That's how you're going to save the index. So I want you to save the file name as lowercase index.html. Okay. Everything's done? Okay. Save your file as lowercase index.html. And then once you're done, we can start typing HTML code. And the very basic boilerplate for HTML is first you have to state the doc type in the beginning, doc type HTML. It tells you that your file that you're writing is a text file that should be read as an HTML file. And to be more exact, it will be HTML 5.0. And you start the HTML code with the HTML. Mine is highlighted because Notepad++ knows the HTML file extension, so automatically it will know how to highlight the HTML commands. So that's why it's done like this. But unfortunately, if you're using Notepad, it won't highlight. But let's just continue. Okay, and then there's the body. And then close the body, and then close the HTML. Just like this. Okay. Right now, we don't have anything. So, as usual, anytime you learn a new language, the ritual is to make it able to print the hello world. Right? So, let's put hello world. That, and now save this. Okay, now you have to search for that. I'm going to search for that. A lot of times Windows will have the file as the recent files. I remember it's in the document, so I'll just look for it. It was index.html. Where is that? There it is. Okay, so I can double click. Oh. Okay. All right. So you see that it did the hello world. Okay. So that's like the crappiest web pages web page ever. Right? But yeah, it if you double click it, Chrome or Safari or whatever your default browser is, it's going to read it and say what it is. Okay. All right. So let's make a few changes. We'll leave this open. Don't close this. We'll just go back to the editor and start doing more stuff. So first thing that you can do is you can make the font bigger than usual so that we didn't have to zoom in. It'll be just this. Okay. So H1 makes it the heading. Okay. HT will be slightly smaller. Let's just do hello world again, just to compare the two things easily. And then a regular body text would be usually paragraph P. So H1, H2, H3, I don't know how many you can go down. Maybe there's a H5 or H6. But these are different font sizes for headings. And then P means paragraph. So you have something like, my name is Daniel An, and this is my web page, personal web page or something like that. Then close. So you do that, save it, and you're going to go back to the browser, and this time refresh. Okay, now I zoomed it too much, but if you, how do you zoom to 100%? Zoom, I have it 500%, so let me go down to 100%. Yeah, so, as you can see, if this is a usual web page, this will be the heading, the next heading, and then you have this. Okay. All right. So what else can you do with this? Well, a lot of web pages have something called a header before the body that explains what the document is. So you can put head, also enclose it with head. And then in here, there are many things that go into the head, and one is the title. So Daniel's personal web page. Now, when the World Wide Web was first popularized, the fashionable thing was to have your own web page. So people who were geeks were actually typing these HTML codes themselves to make the web pages. And other people who thought that they were important and they deserve a web page would pay other people to write these HTML codes. So a long time ago, these were all done by hand. Nowadays, there's so many other ways to do the same thing. All right, so let's save this and see what changed. Okay, what changed? Did you notice anything? Yeah, the tab on the top says Daniel's personal web page, right? That's where it changes. Not the content, but just on the top. Okay? And this is actually important because if you have many tabs open, you want to know which one is your tab. So it's important to have that. Okay. And then another thing you can do is you can put styles. And instead of having the style as a single file, you could also have the the style as a separate file that you load onto it. And those, if your style becomes a separate file, then those have extension of .css. CSS means cascading style sheet. It's to make your HTML look more professional and prettier. Now, I don't know much about CSS, so I'm just copying off of what I prepared. So you can do something like, for the body text, you want the font family to be Arial and comma. Sometimes your browser might not have the Arial font. In that case, you give a hint that if it's not available, just give me any sans serif font for it. Some family of fonts that has some shape. Okay. And then you can do font size. Oops, where is it? Font size. And then let's put 18 pixels. Right. Something like that. Let's enclose this. All right, save this. And then so now you see that the font changed, and before the letters were too small in the default size. I made it slightly larger so that it's easier. So actually, if you just wanted to make a blog, you could theoretically just do it this way. You can just make a whole blog out of this. Just type the date, and then you can make a diary and share this web page somewhere. Okay. All right. What else can you do? You can also put images on it. Okay. So who here already has done some HTML? You've done some HTML. Oh, most of you, it's first time. I didn't realize it. Okay. Yeah, I actually was worried that some of you already know this a lot. So what you do is you can download an image. So let's just download an image. This one. Okay. So let's just right click on the image, save image as, and this image has to be in the same folder as the index, and let's rename it to something easy to see. Okay, so con.jpg. Who here has watched Star Trek? It's a really old series. Oh, okay. A few. All right, good. Yeah. So in one of the episodes, there's this bad person named Khan, and he's angry at him, and he does Khan. Yeah. I actually don't know what this meme was about. Have you seen this meme? Anyone? Khan? Okay. Used to be popular like 20 years ago. I don't remember. All right, but anyways, so let's say you have this picture, and you want to now include it. Then you want to say img source, no, src, sorry, not source, src equal to the file name. We named it as con.jpg, I believe. I forgot what I'd saved it as. You don't have to enclose it because this itself is just one data. So you save this. And let's refresh it. Go to the personal web page, refresh it. Okay, good. Okay. So you can do a PNG file or anything that the browser supports will be read. Okay, so you don't have to use this picture. You can do any other picture. Okay, and then you can also do a link. So let's put the link above the image. So link would be a href. That's the link. So HTTPS. Some web page, I don't know, Amazon.com. Oh, I should really put my YouTube page there. So I'll just put my own web page. You can put whatever you want. So I have this thing called 100 worksheets, many things considered. But just put anything. So just get this one. Oh, it's already HTTPS.
Later.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, you don't need to put this. You just put Control V. Okay? It's like this, and then you close, and then my lectures, whatever. Yeah. Okay. You can just put whatever you want, like the coolest lectures ever, something like that. Then close by A. And if you save this, all right, so just let me wait for you guys to type this. So href, and then you just copy and paste any web page address you want, enclose, and then you write down whatever the link text should be, and then enclose it by /a. Okay? And then let's save this. Let's see what happens. Go back here. Oh, here, the coolest. Okay. The thing is, I forgot to put this as a separate paragraph. So let's go back and let's enclose this as a separate paragraph. Because since I didn't this wasn't appearing before the picture properly, so I'm just going to put pn/p. And what? Oh, it's still that? Did I save? Oh, I forgot to save it. Okay. Okay, great. So now you see that if you click this, you go to the other website. Okay, so that's like the most simplest functionality here. There's some additional ones, like you can put lists here. So you can put something like P my Christmas wish list \P, and then you can do either ordered lists or unordered lists. So either you can do OL or UL, and you do list item as what do you say, Tesla or something, and you have to enclose it with the list item. Okay. And then big mansion. List cute kittens, something like that. You just put some lists here. And then once you have them, then you have to enclose it with \ol. So as you see, every code that we've done, these are called tags. No, these are not tags. Yeah, tags. Okay. So anything that you open with the tag, you have to enclose, and the only thing that didn't have to be enclosed was when you have an image source. Okay. Now you could also make the image source to be clickable by just applying ahref before and after. So if you did ahref before this and after, then you can click this image, and whatever href that you provide you're going to go there. Okay. Yeah. So it seems pretty simple, right? These are the basics of HTML. Let's just go there. All right. So as you can see, you didn't have to number them because I did ordered list 1, 2, 3 just appeared by its own. Now to make these nicer, then you really have to tweak the style sheet. But I don't know much about the style sheet. So this part you have to add some more stuff. Okay. Say something. Now let's move on to JavaScript. Okay. So JavaScript is something like Python, but instead of running on Spider like what we were doing, it runs on browsers. If you do Control-Shift-J, if you're on Firefox, you have to do Control-Shift-K. I don't know about Safari, but anyways, if you do that, so please use Chrome or Firefox, okay? So go there and Control-Shift-J or Control-Shift-K will give you this console. And this console is a lot like the Python console. Let me see if I can, yeah. So for example, you can do something like 4 + 5 is equal to 9. And, if you get hired in some place and somebody asks like, oh, what is 32 times 55? And you want to look cool, this is what you want to do. Okay? Don't go to Google. That's one way to do it. You do 33 times what was it? 7, something like that. It tells you the answer, but it's kind of slow, right? So, but the cool guy's way is to Control-Shift-J and put right here 33 times 7, done. So you can see that there's a console embedded in your browser. But the language here is not Python, so if you do Python commands, it's not going to recognize it. So for example, if you say print hello, it will say undefined because it doesn't know that command. Okay? Instead, in JavaScript, you do something like console.log of hello. That gives you that's like the print command in the console. Right? Okay. What's another thing you can do? Well, it has this string just like Python, and you might be wondering, okay, so if you have Python, then how do you find if you have a string, how do you find the method? Well, if you do dot, then it will give you all the methods that you can use, and it's a bit different than Python, right? So you can do okay, so something like concatenation doesn't work. Oh, it does work. Okay, so but in Python, if I did this times 4, it doesn't know how to do that. In Python, this would do a, right? So it doesn't do that. But if you want to repeat something, you can do a dot and then repeat. Okay, and then you can do 4, and that repeats a 4 times. Okay. What else can you do? Let's see, dot. You can do length. It'll tell you that, oh, it's not a function, sorry. Okay. The length of this is 1. If I have bigger string, hello, then it will say the length is 5. Okay, so these are all commands of JavaScript. And of course, just like how we had to spend weeks to learn Python, you also need weeks to learn JavaScript. It's another important language. You can achieve so many things with JavaScript. I think if you just look at a language for usefulness, I would say Python and JavaScript covers everything, most of it. And then if you need the speed, you want to learn C++ or some other of these harder languages. All right, so I want to now start the new thing. So let me just delete everything except the HTML. I'm just going to delete everything. Okay. And I want to demonstrate how to use the JavaScript inside HTML. So start with body, enclose the body as well. All right. So what I want to do is put p con. I'm somehow obsessed with this. I don't even know what it means, but yeah, it's just con. And then what I need to do is I have to give this part of the code a name for it. So I'm going to put a name ID equals to con. And I put a space, but you don't need a space. Okay, let's just do it this way. And what this achieves is you can later tell JavaScript to modify part of the HTML, but in order for JavaScript to figure out which part of the code you want to change, you have to give an ID to it. Right? So let's see. Now we're going to build a button on click equals to louder. And and I'll name the button name louder. And close the button. Okay, so let's save this and refresh it and see what everything's gone now. Okay, so let's see. It's this, right? Louder. Right now it doesn't do anything. So if you click this button, it's supposed to look for some function called louder. So one thing you can see is if you do Control-Shift-J again, you can see all the errors in the console. It says louder is not defined. Right? So now I have to go and make a function called louder. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we're going to have a script. So JavaScript embedded inside the HTML should begin and end with the script. You can have several scripts beginning and end. Also, you can have a separate file for the script, but in case of a script, the extension should be .js, okay? All right. So you have script, and we're just going to say count equals to 1. And I'm going to be putting semicolons. Now, JavaScript is very forgiving. You can make a lot of mistakes, like not putting the semicolons, and it will still figure out how to execute it, and it will execute it. It's something that you should try to do. So JavaScript, Java, C++, there are family languages where you have to have a trailing semicolon. The advantage of having a semicolon is that you can have additional commands right after this, so that you can have many commands on the same line. Now, some people don't like that because it makes the code harder to read, but there are cases where putting things in a single line makes sense too. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to make a JavaScript function, which is a function louder. We're going to make that function. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say count equals to count plus 1. Just increase the count by 1. And then text is going to be KH plus A, and then repeat whatever the count is, and then plus N capital, and exclamation mark. Okay. So finish that. So you kind of see what I'm doing here. When you make it louder, more A's are put in. Right? Okay, and then I have to replace the text inside this object with this new text. Okay, so the way you do this is what's called the document object model. In JavaScript or HTML, you can do \\\, to put comments. What we are going to do is it's called DOM, or document object model. So what we are doing is I'm using DOM, use DOM to fetch the portion of HTML code we want to modify. So that's the purpose. You don't have to write this because this gets ignored. It doesn't do anything. It's just for us to see what's being done. Okay? And the way you do it is by first saying document. Document is this entire document, okay? And you say get element by ID, and then you put con. Okay. And then dot. Well, just to give you some idea of what this is doing, let me copy this and put it in the console. I'll show you what's happening. So if I go here and do, I'll just type it, document dot get, here's the get element by ID. There are several things. You can put a name to it. You can also have tag name, class name. Okay, so get element by ID. And if I do con, it's going to fetch this thing, right? And if I assign, say, K as this thing, entire thing, and enter, and you do K dot, now you see that there are several things you can do. There are actually many things you can do. Okay, so it's too many, so it's not showing me everything. But one of the things that you can do is something like inner HTML. Yeah, inner text. Okay, so inner text. So if you look at inner text, it says con, right? So what I want to do is I want to change this to the new text that I just made. Right? So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take this inner text and replace this by the new text that we just made. And semicolon. Okay. And then you enclose the function louder, finish the script, enclose the script. So that's a very simple script where if you click the button, this louder function will be executed. Now, one thing that you should notice is that this count equals to 1 is really like a global variable. Okay? It's outside the function, but the function knows that such a variable exists, and every time you execute this, the function does something different because the value of the count becomes increased, right? Okay, so let's save this and see what it does. Okay. Reload. Now if I do louder, con, like that. Okay. Yeah. Very useful program, right? Okay. Yeah. I can do that. Okay, so this should give you an idea that with the JavaScript, you can make the HTML do stuff. And nowadays, if you go into any web page, when you click on stuff, behind it, there's JavaScript doing the work. And you have like so much code. So let's go to Amazon.com and see how this one works. If you go to Amazon.com and just do something like right-click, inspect element. Where's the inspect element? Oh, all right, inspect. Then it will show you the code, the HTML code in there. It's huge. Let's see. No, not that. Is there a way to just see this? There used to be. Okay. So you can have this. Well, you can Control A, copy this, and paste it into another thing, and see what it does. So you can see that the part of the code uses this as the image file from m.media@amazon.com, and it also has this is the image. This is the image, but then it also has this link. It also has div class. So you can look at a web page and see that it has all these HTML files, and it also has JavaScript to run when you click on things. Let me add a few more things about JavaScript. JavaScript is what's known as a client-side language. because it runs on your browser. Okay? When you click on something on Amazon and it immediately responds, what it's doing is it's running the JavaScript on your own computer. However, sometimes you click on something and it's going to the, you're adding something to the cart, right? And Amazon has to know that in your personal information, you chose to buy this thing. So there's also a server-side language, and those run on the server, on Amazon server. Now, there are many server-side languages. The one that's most widely used, that's kind of just, it's a language just made for being server-side, is PHP. So PHP originally was developed as an improvement on some modification of the Perl. It even means personal homepage. PHP means personal homepage. So this thing, what it does is it takes in information from your JavaScript. When your JavaScript and HTML passes on information to the PHP, then it can also take that and talk to an SQL server database. So a lot of times there's something called a LAMP stack, which is like you have Linux plus Apache plus MySQL and then PHP. So this setup was very common. Nowadays they use a lot of different things, but I think this is still common for most of the smaller web pages. So what happens is that the server will have operating system Linux. It's like Windows, but harder to use. Apache is the software that sends out HTML files. So if you go to any web page, your browser contacts the server, and usually there's Apache or Nginx or some other kind of web server there, which will serve you the HTML page. MySQL is a database program. So if you buy stuff, if you order stuff, all the information about the customers gets stored in this database-based system called MySQL. There are many different SQLs. If you join the database, if you join the data science major, you're going to learn a lot of different kind of database softwares out there. Okay, and then this PHP is the server-side language. Now, however, there are many other kinds of server-side language, and Python is one of them. Okay. And another one is Node.js. Node.js is actually JavaScript made for server-side. So many programmers were complaining, why do I have to learn another new language for server-side? Because it used to be JavaScript for client-side, server-side PHP. That was like done deal. Everyone did that. And people were like, I don't want to learn PHP. I don't like the language. So they just made JavaScript to be server-side as well. So this will have additional functionality that, such as like talking to the server, stuff like that. It's a bit different than the JavaScript running on the browser, because the JavaScript running on the browser cannot store things in the MySQL directly without the aid of server-side ones. So, yeah. And then every other languages have these capability to become server-side. So you can have like Java as the server-side. By the way, Java is a language that's completely different from JavaScript. And then C++ could be used, and many others. Okay. Now, if you want to use Python for being a server-side language, you need to use a server that would use Python. So Apache by default would work really well with PHP, but if you're trying to use Python to be the server side, you have to tweak some things. It's a bit more work. And you also have to use some server side packages out there. The two most famous ones are Flask and Django. So I'll try to show you some basics of Flask next time.